A very common business task, and actually one that I do a lot in my personal life as well, is to transfer funds between accounts, either to cover expenses or to have reserves in those accounts used for special purposes. For example, a company might deposit customer payments into a primary checking account, but then move money to cover estimated sales taxes or other quarterly or annual payments to a separate account to make sure they have it in reserve. Making transfers is actually easy once the bank accounts are set up in QuickBooks. You might already have guessed that to do this, we're going to go up to the banking menu. From banking, we can come down and we can choose to transfer funds. And then it's actually a very simple window. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you enter the correct date. Then you simply choose which account to transfer funds from and which account to transfer funds to. Now, I kind of like it that QuickBooks is going to show me the account balances. A, so I don't get them mixed up, and B, I can make sure that I have enough money in the account to actually make the transfer. Well, I'm not going to be taking money out of owner's equity. I'm going to be moving money from checking to savings. So I'll choose from checking. It tells me that currently I have $9,451.64, and I will be moving it to business savings, which currently has an even $1,000. I simply need to now put in the amount to transfer. I'm going to transfer $250. You'll notice down below that there's a memo field, and right now it currently has a very generic name called Funds Transfer. Well, that doesn't do me much good, so I'm going to delete that. And I want to put in something useful. Now, if I'm actually using this money for something, for example, if this is the exact amount of sales tax that I know I'm going to owe, then I could put that in. Sales tax for the month of July, for example. Or I could put in just the accounts. Sometimes I find this useful, so I don't have to go into a lot of detail. For example, I can just say checking to savings. As we're getting used to seeing, I then have the option to save and close, to save and do a new one, or I could clear it out and start all over again. I'll go ahead and click on Save and Close. And we can see, because we still have our register open, that I actually have the transfer. It actually marks it as a transfer, which is useful, along with the date. It says that the account is business savings, and this is kind of why I put in the memo, because some people have a hard time remembering business savings what, that it came from or it's going to. Well, actually, this is the checking account, so this is the account it's going to, but in my memo it says checking to savings. If I go into the savings account itself, it will actually have the same transaction, just the opposite way. This account shows a $250 payment. The savings account will show a $250 deposit, and they are linked together. This makes it very easy to move money between accounts, and you don't actually have to go through the rigmarole of writing checks or doing some other fancy things that some people try to do. Simply use the transfer funds option. The initial setup of bank accounts is also a fairly straightforward process. Just be sure that you have the info you need, including account numbers and routing numbers, as well as opening balances. Sometimes we write checks to be printed later. We also use debit cards, or we handwrite checks when we're out, but we can do either one of these using the many windows, including the Transfer Funds window, that are available in QuickBooks.